Miami, and he came with back then it was the cassette tape. So he
Mm,
had the 96 the 36 chambers cassette tape.
okay.
And I remember hearing that. But you know the funny thing is this when I heard that to me I was like, damn, and this is I've never heard anything like this before in my life. But the first rap song, like the first rap album that I ever listened to was The Chronic. It was Dr. Dre in 1992. And that to me was revolutionary for me.
How come?
That to me was crazy. I just well, number one, like the type of sounds that they were using.
Mm,
You're talking about, the certain drum patterns, and then Dr. Dre was heavy into funk, old funk sampling, like what you would call the Parliament
George
and
Clinton.
uh, and George Clinton and Leon Haywood, like a lot of the artists that he would use to sample the music, and then obviously when I first heard Snoop's voice, because Snoop, his voice is so unique. You hear the voice, and it kind of like, damn, man, this is. He sounds young, but he doesn't. He sounds menacing, but he doesn't. So there's a lot of components to hit, to the sound of his voice that to me were really interesting. And then
You noticed
you
all
pay
this
attention.
like when you're young?
Yeah, well, like in hindsight, going back, I was like,
Mm.
when I was young, I was like, damn, something about this really fascinates, but I could never, I guess, really express it the proper way. But in hindsight, looking back, now I'm understanding that this is what my brain was processing back then. I just didn't know that's what was happening at the time.
I really like the way you describe Snoop's voice though, because I agree with you. But I never really thought about it until you said it like that. But that's
Yeah.
facts. That is exactly what his voice is like. Um,
So so
yeah,
yeah. So just hearing that, and then like hearing and then the content that they were rapping about. It was that it was that gangster shit, but at the same time, they were still spitting knowledge. There was a lot of storytelling, so it was just like all of these components that somehow, some way, like they were able to like put into like a big pot, and then
right.
just come out with that product to me. Like I was like, wow, this is crazy. So then that album in itself really made me want to learn more about rap. And I remember one of the first tapes that I was like, wow, okay, now I understand that there's a difference between, West Coast rap or like rappers from California versus rappers from New York. As when my boy Gino, he came over to my crib because he was sleeping over. I remember we had summer lessons for math, and he came over to sleep for the Friday night to Saturday night, and he left his tape there, and it was a Biggie mixtape tape. So it was like some of Biggie's B sides, and
Mm.
that to me that's when I took off. Like I was like, okay, you know what,
It's not
rap
even like a
rap,
Biggie album. It's like a Biggie B sides that most of us have probably not really listened to.
yeah.
That's
And
fresh.
then and then that's what really made me want to listen to. I was like, whoa, this is crazy. So yeah,
So at that point, you're like, I'm gonna be a rapper, or are
no,
you?
not even.
Okay, so
No,
you're
at
still
that
in.
point, at that point, I'm gonna be a rap head. I'm not gonna be a rapper.
I like that. I like your like awareness with that. So you start studying
Yeah,
it up.
yeah.
How old are you in 2000? Like what age are you at around then?
Since 2000, so I was like 16, 17.
Okay. So you're at
Yeah.
that point where computers are becoming more mainstream, the internet's becoming more mainstream, and you're like in that fucking area of adopting internet early, I guess.
Yes, correct.
That's fresh. So tell us how you would bump music. Tell us literally how you would go about dealing with music at that age with your computer so that half of us can be nostalgic and the other half can learn what it used to be.
So shit. I'm trying to remember when I transitioned from Walkman to CD player,
Mm.
and
That
that must have been what I think. I think in '98 is when I transitioned. So if you're looking at it from that point of view, I think in '98 is when I transitioned, because I remember. Well, you know what? Before jumping into the whole CD player, just having a Walkman, like how you remember, like back then. I remember just to get some of the hip hop, we used to tape the radio. So
yes.
we used to put the cassette tape like in the radio, and like when we knew that like there was a DJ that would play like a rap set, we used to record it, and then we'd record it with the commercials as well. We'd record it with the radio tags on top of it, right? The radio station, the tags. So this is how we would learn songs, to the point where now, like, if there's certain songs that I listen to now that I used to listen to back then, and I remember the mix like by heart, and I remember that, okay, at that point in the song, that's when the DJ would say DJ such and such from radio station such and such, right? So when I hear the songs now and I hear it without the tag, it feels weird to me because I was never used to that, right? Because I was so used to listening to the music that way. And
Mm.
I remember even with the cassette tapes, when the cassette tapes would be ruined, or there were certain parts of the tape that would be ruined, and when you put it in the Walkman and you play it, there are certain parts of the song that you wouldn't even remember because it would sound all marbled, it would sound choppy, and then it would go back to what it was. Like these are things that like I tell my daughter, like I have a daughter, and I tell her like she doesn't know anything about that. Like this is different for us, right? So so there was that. Yeah, I remember then when I switched to the CD player, and that's when it was different. Like you could,
Mm-hmm.
as far as like skipping songs and fast forwarding, rewinding, and things of that nature.
Yes.
Like to me, that was like a new, that was like a damn man, this is mad convenient, right?
Yeah, I remember
So
that.
so yeah, so there was that. I remember doing that. This is how I would consume music for the most part. And then then when you start hanging out with your boys, and then one of your boys has a car, forget it. You would make mix CDs because remember how you said when the internet came, and then you would make tapes on a CD like a mixtape, so to speak. Let's say I would grab, okay, I like this Tupac song, I like this Nas song, I like this Notorious B.I.G. song, Ice Cube, and then you would put a play, you make a playlist, and then you burn it on a CD. Gosh, man, I remember that,
Yeah, I
and I
remember
remember
those
like
days.
and and you would take it to you would take it to the car when you and your boys would step out, and then you'd be that guy because you'd be like, damn, you coming out with a dope music. You don't have to put in five, six, seven, different CDs just to hear the songs that we want. Now you got them all on a CD. So
Fresh. No, I mean,
yeah,
I was right there. I'm a couple years younger than you. So, like, I went through all this transition probably within years of when you did. So, I can remember all of that. I can remember I was the guy who paid the other people the $5 to get those CDs made because we didn't have the computer yet.
yeah,
And I remember vividly going from not just tape to CD, but from CD to MP3 CD. Do you like
yeah.
remember when all of a sudden you could have 180 songs on a single fucking disc?